Bitcoin continues to chop around, wrecking aggressive traders. In today's video, we'll be going over some positive news that came out from the tariff standpoint, but we'll also be going over how it is more likely that Bitcoin is about to roll over. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So because of this range that Bitcoin finds itself in, people that are aggressively long or aggressively short are just getting wrecked. As we can see here on the chart, we just continue to chop around this all-important range. And if we take a look at the liquidation maps here, we can see that in the past 24 hours, $63 million worth of longs were liquidated and $82 million worth of shorts were also liquidated. This is pretty even as we go into our all-important range that we discussed throughout the past few videos. Now, nothing has really changed, but I need to give you this update, and I still think that it is entirely possible that we go ahead, chop within this range to get rejected. Now, I have a chart that I want to show you that would suggest this is the case, but we have to understand trading isn't just black and white. There is a chance here that we go and roll over, but it also wouldn't surprise me if we leave some nasty wicks to the upside outside of this range if we are to get rejected. Now, as I mentioned, the bullish case scenario would be to hold this level as support, or another scenario here could be that we chop in this range, come back down and retest this important level, which coincides with the top of the bull market support band, and of course 91.8K, which, as we've been discussing, is the bottom of this range that we held as support when Bitcoin went ahead and put in its all-time high around $109,000. So the bullish case scenario doesn't necessarily mean that we can't get any rejection here. In fact, if we were to be bullish, I would honestly be expecting a more minor rejection only to go ahead and move much higher. Same thing with the bearish case scenario. As I said, we could potentially be wicking above this level only to get rejected, and then we go ahead and move much lower. Now, to me, I'm pretty confident that Bitcoin will have at least some kind of pullback. The real question is, would we be putting in a brand new low? That is a tricky one to predict, because if Bitcoin is to have a pullback here, I would be expecting a lot of support right around this level and around this zone over here, which happens to be right below $85,000. Let's see how the price action develops, but ultimately it's going to depend on a lot of different factors. One of those factors being the stock market. And as we can see today, the stock market is green at the time of recording this video. And as we are green, China decided to remove the 125% tariff on US ethane imports. Very positive, and this is one of the highest removals of tariffs that we've seen thus far. And also, as I shared in my free Telegram community down below, India and the US seem to be closest to getting a deal. So let's see how that develops as well. And while we wait for some more tariff developments, some positive news actually came out of the UK. They're going to be collaborating with the US to boost adoption of cryptocurrency, and they also seek to become a world leader in digital asset, according to the UK finance minister. This is a pretty big turn because I know a lot of friends that are actually based in the UK, and they moved here to Dubai because of how unfriendly the UK was in terms of crypto and crypto businesses. If you want to prepare yourself for Bitcoin's next big move, make sure to click the first link in my description down below, which brings you directly to Weeks. With my link, you can earn a 20% deposit bonus, and yes, I confirm that it works. If you deposit $10,000 into your Weeks account after signing up with the first link in my description down below, you will get $2,000 back for free for trading purposes. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. I use this exchange on a daily basis, and I would highly recommend that you do the same. Something else I wanted to touch on in this video is taking a look at gold. We can see that we got quite a sharp rejection after making it all the way to $3,500, but it is possible here that we are simply just consolidating in this zone before we go ahead and move on higher. Now, I'm not sure how high gold can actually go, but as we know, when gold soars, it is usually a risk-off signal. And what we haven't spoken about in a while is USDT dominance. This is an important chart that you need to keep your eyes on. Whenever USDT dominance comes and tags this trend line, it marks a local top. As we saw here in March of 2024, it was the 74K top. We bounced off of this trend line, and this is when Bitcoin made it all the way below 50K. Then we have the January 2025 top around $109,000. We actually broke this trend line and then held on to the 4% level, which is another major support level. And with that pump in USDT dominance, of course, that is when Bitcoin went ahead and corrected down to the 74K level. Now the question is, Can we continue higher here? Because dominance continues to go higher and breaks past this previous zone, I would be expecting a much more severe correction for Bitcoin. But so far we have gotten rejected, which means that potentially if this were to break, it would be extremely bullish for the entire crypto market. Keep your eyes on this chart. And back to Bitcoin. Right now, I am just waiting for the proper confirmation to see whether or not I should be going long or short. I am not rushing into any of these trades. Now, what I do need to show you though is the fact that something is looking a little bit shaky for Bitcoin right at this key resistance zone. The price is holding above $94,000, but the demand, not so much. The 30-day demand momentum is deep in the red, minus 483K Bitcoin. And what's the translation for this? Short-term holders are cashing out, long-term holders aren't stepping in. We've seen this setup before in mid-2021 and in Q2 2022. Both times led to sharp corrections. Until demand flips green, this rally feels more like fumes than fuel, and I couldn't agree more. This is why I'm operating with a lot of caution. Again, if we can hold this level as support, I will be longing Bitcoin, but I still think that we could see a lot of chopping around, wrecking both sides of the trading equation. So make sure that you're patient when it comes to trading Bitcoin at this current period in time, because I think that a lot of people are about to get wrecked. And just another quick note on the tariff stuff, the US Treasury Secretary Bessent refuses to confirm if President Trump has spoken to the Chinese president. Come on. Trump keeps on saying that they're talking every single day, but the Chinese president says the complete opposite. What are we meant to believe? This story just continues to develop. Every single day, these guys are saying different things. And this is why, in my opinion, you should be exercising a lot more patience because of these market conditions, because of these external factors. And the last thing that I'd like to touch on in this video is the Bitcoin spot ETFs. As we can see, continued inflows. Now, when we have such aggressive inflows for the Bitcoin spot ETFs, it does actually start to concern me, because usually this could mean that retail that is buying through the ETFs could potentially be buying at a top before we go ahead and roll over. However, it's important to note that these streaks can extend for much longer than we could imagine. And that sums up today's video. Bitcoin just continues to chop around, likely wrecking both traders. Personally, I am still looking for shorts in this market, but if I can be proven wrong and we can hold this key level as support, I do think that a long would be valid. Let's see how things develop, and if you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.